Thanks for listening to Dog Dish. Before we start, we'd like to say thanks to our sponsors. Porter's Pride is a raw premium pet food with meats and vegetables locally sourced in the Pacific Northwest. Porter's Pride will ensure freedom from allergies, healthy weight loss, an increase in energy, and a reduction in the amount of stool produced. Find out more, check out Porter's Pride at porterspriderawdiet.com. That's porterspriderawdiet.com. And thanks to Addiction Pet Foods, they offer a complete range of cutting-edge foods that provide the most advanced hyperallergenic nutrition for dogs and cats around the world. Addiction is proud to have innovated the concept of using premium proteins such as free-range venison, salmon, kangaroo, and brushtail. Addiction Pet Foods. We go to the ends of the earth for your pets.
I'm Deborah Rosen. For the past 15 years, as founder and owner of Good Citizen Dog, I've been helping people to train their dogs using the science of canine behavior. What I'm going to do is help you create peaceful living with your dog.
Hi, I'm Dina. I'm producing Dog Dish with Deborah. I've been training dogs for over 10 years with the Good Citizen philosophy, and together we will help you create peaceful living with your dog.
Hi, Dina.
Hey, Deborah.
How's it going today?
Oh, it's great. It's a
Good.
beautiful day after all.
It is very nice out.
It was so snowy and sleety and everything, but now beautiful sunshine.
Yeah, I've been seeing people out walking their dogs.
Yes, and of course we're here on Dog Dish to talk about what today?
We're going to talk about a really tough issue, which is separation anxiety.
And let's let our folks know what that is, what those symptoms are that they'll see in their home.
Okay, so, and I often tell people when they call me about this, I first of all try to clarify with them what, in fact, separation anxiety is, because I get calls from people who have new puppies and they're trying to crate train them, and they put them in the crate and they start screaming bloody murder, and they call me up and say their puppy's got separation anxiety. And so let me just clarify. Folks, that is not separation anxiety. That is your puppy throwing a tantrum and not wanting to be restricted.
More of a weaning process, if you will, as opposed to separation anxiety.
That's right. And separation anxiety is a very, very serious issue. It comes out of, and I see this a lot in rescue dogs, a dog being homed and then rehomed and then rehomed. And it comes from a dog never learning to be on its own without its owner there. And its well-being is essentially predicated upon, or its feeling good is based upon the owner's presence at all times. And if the owner is not there, then the behaviors ensue. So the dog starts vocalizing a lot. It's very, very anxious. If it's out of a crate, it will pace. It will pant. It will, if it's in a crate, it will urinate and defecate in a crate, which is really not something dogs do. And it will also start doing destructive things like chewing on everything it can get its mouth around. So, and that goes as far, the crate itself, I've heard about dogs that have literally damaged their mouths, their gums, their teeth, trying to get out of metal crates. And then, once they do, or if they're not in a crate and they're out, they'll start chewing on door frames and molding and furniture. But they go to the source of the exit. They try to get out. They're trying to make their way out of the restricted area so that they can go find their owner. And so they're going for those sources of entryway and exit, if you will.
And now we get a chance to learn how to fix it.
All right, so let's start with puppies. And folks, this is a very intense subject. So we're going to do this in two parts. And so the first part is going to focus on how to avoid having separation anxiety, how to set things up with your new puppy if you have a new puppy, so that this isn't something you ever have to deal with. And when I say that, and we did did touch on this in one of our past podcasts about crate training, and this is the thing that I want you to know. The crate is your best friend ever. If you are opposed to crate training, please take a minute and rethink it. Really, really briefly, just know that your dog will not dislike being in a crate. A crate is their little safe haven, okay? And the rest of that explanation is in the crate training podcast. So look that one up, folks. And so when you're getting your new puppy, it's really, really important to give it some alone time training. What I mean by that is put the puppy in his or her crate intermittently throughout the day while you're around. I know when people first get a puppy, they take a week or two off from work, or they arrange things so that they have vacation time, and they're going to be around all the time. And your puppy is going to get the misconception that you never leave them. And so you have to set things up with this new puppy, and even in the case of a rescue dog, so that that they know that you're there, but they can sort of be on their own in their own special space without being right on top of you.
I agree with that. And then it leaves for them to do like Justice is right now and sit very nicely right by your side as they get older.
And honestly, folks, I mean, what do you want more than an adult dog who grows to be a confident, relaxed, really well-adjusted pup who can be with you and be without you and stand on their own? For the folks that have suffered through this terrible, terrible behavior problem, and I know many people who have, it is a laborious resolution to try to correct it, and it's not always possible to correct it. The correction is not always successful.
That's very true. And we're going to let you ponder that, not to scare you too much, but let's take a quick break for our new sponsor.
Right.
And then let's come back and give them the solutions that take the weight off of that statement.
That's a great idea. Thank you. So we'd like to welcome the offices of Lynn Johnson. Dog Dish is really proud to have Lynn and her specialty, which is family law, since 1983 as a show sponsor. Lynn is a past president of the Tacoma Pierce County Bar Association, and she's recognized within this community here for her expert ability navigating her clients to a peaceful resolution in domestic and relationship cases, which is no easy thing to do. And she's really expert at this. She was an early advocate and innovator of collaborative law, but also, if need be, she can be quite the skillful litigator. Folks, if you need this kind of law, please call the law offices of Lynn Johnson at area code 253-383-3333. There's a few threes there, isn't it?
There's a couple. Say it again and we'll get a few more in.
Alrighty, 253-383-3333. And you'll get, by the way, 10% off your first consultation. Lynn Johnson, empowering her clients with caring education.
That's right. So if you want that 10% off, mention Dog Dish.
That's right. Don't forget.
Okay,
right.
Deborah. So now we're going to get back to what do we actually do to reduce, if not eliminate, separation anxiety.
Okay, so let's talk from get-go. All right, you've got the new puppy. The new puppy's screaming in its cage, in its crate rather, and everybody thinks they've got separation anxiety. Well, let me just clear up one thing, folks. You don't. You've got a little temper tantrum, and we've talked about this already. So what do you want to do? You want to tire out the puppy. You want to not necessarily jam him or her in there without having experience going in and out freely. So throwing in a treat, letting them wander in and out freely, and then after a while they're going to go in on their own. Eventually you're going to close the door and give them something nice to chew on. And what you also want to do is put a cover on it, a sheet or something to darken it, so that they don't see things going on around them and get stimulated. We want them to relax in the crate and just be mellow in there.
It would probably also help to not run the vacuum or be building on the house and things like that. So if we want to create a nice quiet time where they know they're there, exactly.
Eventually you can put it in there and run the vacuum.
Exactly.
But while they're adjusting to it, that's really a good idea. So let's get the puppy used to that. And you're going to wander about. You're going to leave the house. You're going to come back. And the most important thing, and we're going to talk about this more later, you're not going to say anything to the puppy while the puppy's in the crate, or the adult dog eventually. You're not going to talk to them, and you're certainly not going to go and let them out if they're throwing a temper tantrum.
So they want to be involved.
Right, and if you've let them out once while they're having a temper tantrum, then they think that by throwing one, they're going to get released from the crate. You don't reinforce that behavior is what I'm trying to say here.
That's perfect.
All right, so there's that. So we're dealing with a puppy there. And then, folks, you're going to start leaving the puppy or the adult dog for incremental periods of time. I call it a separation hierarchy. All right, so you're going to increase the amount of time by very specific increments in a hierarchy of, a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. And then if the dog starts having real problems at 3 minutes, then you're going to keep it at 3 minutes because anxiety creates more anxiety. You're going to do this until you get to like 10 minutes and you're still inside the house. Once you get to 10 minutes inside the house, then you're going to put them in for 2 minutes and you're going to leave. And again, you're not saying anything to them when you leave, and you're not saying anything to them when you come back and let them out. You're simply going to open up the crate and let them out. That gives them the ability to sort of stand on their own, and you're not giving them any reason to get upset that you're leaving or coming back. And so let me explain this, Dina, because I think that can be a little confusing.
And real quick, too, if you do have a puppy, let's make sure if you get them out of the crate that you're taking them out to potty right away.
Right.
And so that's another podcast that you can definitely listen to about potty training.
It was our most popular one, actually.
Right.
Yeah. But basically, this is the deal. If you leave the puppy in the crate and you go, many people say, oh, sweetie, I'll be back soon. Don't worry, mommy's coming back. And so what are you doing? You're announcing your departure. You're getting the dog amped up in a bad way.
And plus your tone. Oh, I'm so sorry. Well,
Yeah.
what's wrong? Why are you so upset? Now I
Right.
have to be upset.
Right. So you're adding to their discomfort. So don't say anything. That's the reason not to say anything. When you come back, typically people say, oh, I'm back. Mommy's home. You can be fine now. You're basically telling them that you're back and they can relax. And you're reinforcing their already pretty preset notion that they should be upset when you're not around. It's a hard thing because we have to discipline ourselves not to talk. But you just want to be very quiet with them. Put them in the crate. Don't announce your departure, so they have no reason to get upset. Just go. All right. And then do it in, again, very specific increments of time. You're gone for 2 minutes, come back. If they're not whining or making any noise, let them out of their crate. Don't say anything. Don't make a big deal over them. Let them basically start building up their own sense of well-being and confidence when you're there and when you're not there. And this will really, really help especially with young puppies, to get a sense of well-being when you're not around. This is called alone time training, and this fends off the possibility or the development of separation anxiety.
Okay, so now let's say that you have a dog and you realize either it's developed on its own or a new rescue has come in and you work. So you maybe could take a week off to deal with it, but then what happens when you have a very specific routine? You catch a train, you've got to get on the road for traffic, and you have a job somewhere that it keeps you there all day.
Right. I think we're going to leave this for the next podcast, Dina.
Ooh, that's a very nice cliffhanger.
Yeah, right.
Excellent.
Because it's pretty involved. And I don't want to start something and then not be able to finish it all the way, because I know how that will feel.
Right. So that's perfect. We've just gotten you through keeping your dog from becoming full of separation anxiety.
Right. Yeah. So what we've just done is address how to deal with perhaps a young or new puppy to prevent the development of separation anxiety. And what we're going to talk about next, and it's probably going to be a much longer podcast, is if you get a dog that already has it, what are some of the remedies and how can you pursue dealing with these behaviors before they escalate to a degree where you almost can't do anything about it?
Excellent.
So we're going to call that separation anxiety part 2.
Thanks,
Very
Deborah.
good. Thanks, Dina. Thanks for tuning in, folks. This has been Dog Dish with Deborah.
For 15 years, Good Citizen Dog has been the premier destination for dog training, dog daycare, dog boarding, and grooming services. Good Citizen uses the most modern, positive, reward-based training techniques. With our 2 locations in Western Washington and across the country, Good Citizen Dog is creating peaceful living with your dog. For more information about services or for franchise information, go to goodcitizendog.com. That's citizen with a Z. Or call 855-936-3649. That's 855-936-3649.